Hi everyone, I'm the Plant Propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it is just a beautiful early April day here in Southwest Florida. It is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 24 degrees Celsius. This is springtime. This is pretty much as good as it gets here. We've already had periods of really hot weather. But today is cool. It's nice. I think it's probably going to get a little warmer today. It's a little early in the day. But what I wanted to do is give you kind of an overall tour of a lot of the plants that are in my growing space, in my very, very small growing space here in Southwest Florida. It's springtime. Things are blooming. The things that are blooming here are some things that may bloom in the middle of the summertime in other parts of the U.S. and worldwide. But I'm going to focus in on orchids because that's what I do. But the other thing is I want to share some other plants and some other projects and some other goings on. What happens in the springtime is there's a flush of growth of everything, and so that's what I want to share with you. Not necessarily the flowers. Yes, I do have some flowers to share with you, but I also want to show you this what just happens as a flush of growth. When I was in my laboratory in the Midwest, I was in the laboratory, and the tissue cultures that I worked on, for some reason in the spring, they just did better. Inside, controlled environment, controlled temperature, controlled everything. I didn't know what caused it. I thought it might have been magnetic fields. I thought it might have been something else that was going on. Wasn't photo period, because that stayed the same. It wasn't the temperature, because that stayed the same. But there's something about the springtime where these plants just do well. And it's a nice time of the year when that happens, because that doesn't happen all year round. All right, so what I want to start out with, and I'm going to be in front of the camera for this is an amazing gardenia. I've shared this with you in the past, but it's never bloomed like this before. Gardenias are great plants. They're intensely fragrant. We had a gardenia in our backyard over there. Had to get rid of that. They are subject. They're subject to some mineral deficiencies due to pH problems. They're also subject to mealybugs and scale. But this plant, I hit it at the right time with an insecticide. I fertilize it once a week when I'm doing all my other plants, and this is just put on an amazing show. The flowers are just huge on this thing. I thought that that it might take a few more weeks for it to bloom, but it's blooming. I think probably peak bloom right now. Huge flowers. The interesting thing is this is right next to my front door. My house is right there, and I can open the front door up in the morning, and the fragrance from this just goes through the house. I can almost smell this on my back lanai all the way through the house. But sitting in this chair, all I can smell is gardenia, and the smell, to describe it, is gardenia. So that's what it is. Great plant, doing wonderfully well. I planted this probably maybe around 2 or 3 years ago, and it's just been doing really well in its location. So nice plant. I wanted to start off here because the blooms are just so phenomenal, so full on this plant right now, that I wanted to start off with you right here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is get behind the camera, and I'm going to show you. We're starting out in the front yard, and I will likely, because I tend to be long-winded. If you watch my channel, you know me, and I'm probably going to split this up into a couple of different videos, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start out with the front yard, show you some plants. Again, it's a small growing space, But then I'm going to show you some of the orchids that are mounted in my date palm tree, some of the other plants that are around the yard. I'm then going to go into the backyard, which is my main garden area. Again, it's a tiny space, but it's my main area, and show you what I got. Again, what I'm going to focus on today, not necessarily the flowers, but the flush of growth, the new growth that I'm seeing, and that excites me as much as the flowers do when you see the new surges, because the new surges of growth mean that I'm going to get, that the plants are doing well and that I'm going to get flowers. Okay, so let me get behind the camera and show you some of my plants in my growing space. Okay, and we're back. So I'm not in the Midwest. I am still in Southwest Florida, and it is early spring, and my daylilies are doing really well. So this is one that I transplanted from my home in the Midwest. It's a fragrant one. Some of the daylilies are fragrant. Doing quite well. If we take a look at it, it is it's pretty much loaded. It's been blooming, as you can tell, for a little while. And daylilies are called that because the flowers only last a day. So the spent blooms, you can see them all over the place on this plant. But again, what you focus on are these nice blooms. Other thing I want to show you, just to share with you, is I do have pineapples. I haven't yet done a video on pineapple propagation. You can use the ones that are the tops of the pineapples from the plants that you buy in the grocery store, but these are some special plants that a colleague provided to me. All right, the other thing is just, we got to start into orchids a little bit. This is a new orchid that I've placed on this tree. It hasn't really done anything yet. It doesn't look great, but it's there, and we'll see what it does. On this tree right here, I do have a couple of orchids that are established right here, I think, and then there's burlap phals right above them there. And these are burlap phals, maybe because of the location. These are burlap phals that did not bloom this year. So over here on the other side of the tree, maybe you can't see it too well because of the backlighting, but the burlap phal is on top, and then there's a dendrobium below. I just wanted to show this to you. Oh, can't see it that well. Maybe up here. Plumeria, it is spring, and so the plumeria is just starting to leaf out, no flowers. Driving through the neighborhood, I've seen some plumerias that are in full bloom this time of the year. But mine are just a little behind and are just starting to leaf out. This is sage right here. For some reason, I get my sage plant does really well here. So I love making butter sage ravioli, and this goes into that. It does well. This plant's been around for a long time. It gets big, trim it back, have a sage ravioli, and then it grows back again. All right, so some of the other plants, these are standard, not really anything too exciting in here. There is coleus that I grew from a cutting here. There may be some other plants. I think that was bought rather than, well, maybe I did propagate this plant. But begonias are pretty easy to propagate as well. I'm not really sure. The impatiens are pretty easy to cut as well. I don't think I've done anything with the Mexican heather here, but anyway, and then we're back where the gardenia is right here. What I want to do is go and show you some of the plants. This is a plant that's further out by the road. We're not going to take a look at it, but this is a date palm. It's a male date palm that I grew from seed, actually, from a plant that was at a neighbor's house. There's male and female date palms, and the female date palms make dates, which around here means you have a big mess in your yard. So we had a bunch of seedlings, had a colleague test the seedlings to see whether they're male or female. And this is a male, so this will not make dates. They're just as beautiful as the females, but they don't produce dates, which means no fruit flies, no mess in the yard, no nothing. So I'm good. This other palm that I have is this other date palm where I have, and I can mount my orchids on my date palm when it gets a little bit bigger over there. So this is my other date palm right here, and I do have orchids mounted all up the side of this date palm, and this is another male. This one was a male by chance, so this was luck, ended up being a male, and the other one that I had that this one replaced was a female, and it had to be taken down for a road improvement project in the area. So now it's been replanted with a male date palm. But taking a look at some of the orchids that are on this tree, and I have a lot of dendrobiums that tend to do well on this tree. So there's a big den that's right there. You know, lots of flowers coming out on it. Small flowers, you know, they're okay, but it's always this thing. I don't know if it's ever not been blooming. So it has blooms there, you know, more blooms in the back there, more blooms that you can't see there, and out of focus there. But the other thing is, let me show you if I can find it. There are some blooms. That's a bloom spike right there that hasn't opened. So this big plant here is always in bloom. As we move down a little bit, there's another dendrobium closer to the base of the tree right there. As we follow this up, this is a new plant. The green tag there is a new plant that I shoved in there maybe a couple of weeks ago. As we go up here, another dendrobium here. There's a cattleya in there, a phalaenopsis peeking out right there. There is, let me show you this one right here, an Encyclia tampensis plant that I grew from seed, and I think it's got some blooms coming out on it. But anyway, let's get back around to looking at these things. But what I wanted to show you is the whole idea is the spring flush. So as you take a look at this den right here, the one cane coming off to the right, I hope you can tell that's a new cane. So that's a new flush of growth. As we go over to this dendrobium right here, and we look at the base of this one, so there's a new cane coming out in the middle, and there's a new one that's coming out that now is in the middle that's on the right of that. So you can see a nice flush of growth from this, and this is actually Dendrobium Judy roots that I've used. It's coming out of this plant. Flowers are right here, and again, these dens seem to always be in bloom. They just kind of like being here. Another bloom spike right there coming out of the same plant. Below it, there's another den that's right here. And this den, I don't know if you can tell on the right, it's got just a lot of bloom spikes. I'm not sure if you're going to see focus here, but all those new bloom spikes coming out on this dendrobium. And yeah, sorry, that's gross, bird poop. It's, you know, the birds like to build nests in my trees. Okay, so moving on, the one plant that doesn't do well, I've got a vanda. And for some reason, the vandas do well in my backyard, not well in the front yard. It doesn't do well, so maybe, you know, maybe it's time to move this guy. It's fine. All right, over here on the bottom of this tree, we've got a Bersanthi Maikai, and normally these don't bloom this time of year, but look at that. It's got a bloom on it, and I was bad. Yesterday I made a cross onto this, but this is also putting out lots of new pseudobulbs on this plant. You may or may not be able to see them well. So right in the middle there's a new pseudobulb. It's in the back, but these things are they're just growing really nicely. There is a little bit of a problem foul. I think you can see it right there. It's coming back. It almost didn't make it. There is, as we go up here, There's another dendrobium right behind where that cattleya leaf is, and I think you can see the new cane coming from behind there. There's another cattleya right, oops, I'm sorry, right there. And that's a new pseudobulb right there that came out of that cattleya. And that's golf green right there. Never bloomed for me, but we'll see how it goes. This is another den right here, and this is actually interesting because this is, I think it's called Mini Purple Queen, this dendrobium. So this is a one that produces keikis like crazy, and I've already got a lot of different plants of this. But what you can see, I hope, you can see it's board mounted and then in the tree because it was given to me board mounted. But I think you can see in the middle a new cane coming out, I think it's a keiki coming out, but on the bottom of that, so that's a new cane coming out of that. These are keikis that are on this one cane, but the keikis on the cane are making more pseudobulbs. So this is springtime growth, and this plant is doing really well. The final that I want to show you today is, or I'm sorry, I want to show you here, and in this part of my yard, is this plant that was in a pot, didn't like it, and pulled it out. Roots were all rotted, cut them off, all the rotted roots, and then hung it up in my date palm tree in the front of my house. And what I wanted to show you are all the new pseudobulbs that are coming out of this almost naked plant that's left behind. So on the left, right there in the middle, there is a new pseudobulb coming out. So this is going to grow and grab on right behind. You may not be able to see it that well, right behind where the rubber band is holding this thing on. That's a new pseudobulb growing out right there. I am shaking a little bit too much. There's another pseudobulb coming out right there. And then if we look in the back, you're going to have to use your imagination and look in the dark. Right in the middle, there's another pseudobulb. So this plant, there's no roots on it, but what happens are the new pseudobulbs come out, and then at the base of those, it'll put out roots. And all the stuff, the way you're supposed to do this when you mount things is put the new growth against the mount. So all the pseudobulbs that are growing out of this plant are more or less on the back side of this. And as the pseudobulbs come out, the roots will come out from the base, and then that'll attach to the tree, and then it's off to the races for this guy. This is a big plant that I shoved, that I attached to the tree, and it's kind of scary when you do this, when you cut all the roots off, and then, I mean, it is right out here in the open. It's scary when you do this, but this is going to work. And I didn't like the plant that much anyway, so if it doesn't make it, but it'll make it. It'll do fine. All right, so that's all I have for this part of the yard. What I want to go to is I want to start around the back side of the yard, and we'll try to finish up, and if I keep on going too long, I will cut it off and make a second video. All right, so let's move to a different location. Okay, and we are back. So no, not orchids. These are all members of the mint family. Actually, all of them, even including that tropical sage right there, which I like to grow. It just self-seeds, goes crazy. But anyway, this stuff, let's start on this stuff. The splotched leaf plant, the one that's mostly green and the one that's mostly red, as you might imagine, these are coleus. And I got these plants, this big one and this one, at the same time, same size, and as you might guess, the one that had more chlorophyll, the green one, it's just doing well. I did get another one. Let me show you my other one. There's my lizard right here, but my other one right here also is small. So the one that is green, that is right there, the green one, it just took off. It just did so much better than everything else. And I didn't mean to do an experiment, but I ended up doing an experiment. I liked the colors. I thought this was as striking as the red one right here, but I got much better growth out of it. I don't think, I mean, they're right next to each other. I don't know if it's any other kind of microenvironment that comes into play here. Anyway, what I did is I like this plant, and I like all these coleus plants so much, is I took cuttings from them, and that's I think going to be a future video, is propagation of coleus. I've done that in the past, but I can show you some preliminarily how they look as we move through the garden today. The other thing that I want to show you here is this is Perilla, again another member of the mint family, and I had a plant that I grew from seed before these coleus got planted, and it flowered and went to seed, and Perilla is self-seeding. Perilla is used in Korean dishes, and when I was in Korea I ate this and I just love the flavor and what you can do with it, and how easy it was to grow. It is self-seeding here and in the Midwest. The plants can get big. The one that I had growing here did not get very big, flowered when it was tiny, set seed, and the seeds, they kind of went crazy. Now there is a little bit more growth over here than over here, because I do, believe it or not, I fertilized the palm tree with a liquid fertilizer, and I think the ones over here might have gotten exposed to a little bit more fertilizer. So anyway, Perilla is also a member of the mint family. It's got a really nice fragrance to the leaves, but you pull the leaves and you put your food in the leaves and you eat these things raw, and it just adds a really nice flavor to the meals. Anyway, coleus right here, I'm propagating. The Perilla, I didn't mean to, but it propagated, and then again the other coleus here. The other thing as we move, oh, let me show you before I move, there is a vanilla that's going up this tree, and what happens on this vanilla, maybe you can't see it because of the backlighting, but this vanilla, and this is vanilla pompona, big leafed, it'll grow tall, and what happens with this is my palm tree loses the leaves, and the leaves come down and crack off the tip, and so the tip of this has been cracked off so many times, it's incredible, but it's, you know, it's attached to the tree and growing up nicely. It is terrestrial, so it does go down to the ground right about there, but the base is rotted, so rotted off, so all the nutrients, everything that this is getting for the growth is coming from the roots that are attached to this palm tree that you can see easily here and here. Now this isn't flowering this year, but I've got something I want to show you with another vanilla that is flowering. I do want to show you a couple things here, and so this is a desert rose, very easy to propagate, nice flowers. The back flower is open. Here, let me show you another desert rose that came from that first desert rose, and that's right here, just really pretty dark flowers, and it's just it's a nice plant, very tolerant of the bright sun, does well. When you grow them from seed, this is from a cutting from that other plant, and those tend to be a little bit more elongate. When you grow them from seed, they tend to have a little bit more of a shorter stature, as you can see here. Next to this is a plumeria that I grew from a cutting. And should we move into the orchids? Oh, I got to show you, we have a guest visitor, if I can. It's so hard to see things in the sun. I think, yeah, there he is. All right. So anoles, lizards all over the place. If you know me, you know I love the lizards. I love being out here and seeing the anoles so as we start through, and I'm gonna get through a little bit of this, but I think I'm gonna do 2 videos from this. But as we start through here, this is the Phalaenopsis driftwood tree. So this is on a piece of driftwood that's in that concrete. It goes up, and then at each point where there was a branch that came out of this driftwood, there's a conch shell, and then I have orchids in each one of those conch shells. Now it looks nice, but the reality of this is the roots would rather be attached to the driftwood than to the conch shell. I don't think they like it. It's not something I would, normally do. These are nice flowers. This is bloomed. We've only had this for a couple of years. This is bloomed. It's nice dens that are here. There's a little bit of a small flower on this den. They're lighter colors. I don't really like that too much. So this one is not quite in full bloom yet right here, but a nice yellow den. There's a kind of a white one back here, and then I have another den that's foul back here where it hasn't really opened yet. All right, so this is, these phals are doing okay. I have my other phals, if we take a look at them, my other phals are back here and a little bit more protected and shaded area. So I've got phal right here. I've got, you can't see it that well, but I've got a phal right there. I've got the one in the back that, I'm not sure you can even see here, but I've got some phals back here. There's a small one on the top there. There's another one that's reaching over back here. I'm not doing very good today but everything is behind my shed. And so what I have is, this is space that I grow certain of the phals, the dark loving plants. And I don't know if you can see, but I did try growing some in these conch shells, and they are flowering, but the plants themselves aren't doing well. So I'm not going to do that again. What I also have, just so you can see, is I've got a lot of mounted things that I tried, that I play with. I've got a lot of mounted orchids that are in this space right here. I've got some seedlings. I've got some cuttings, some divisions that I kind of put on boards just to see how they would grow. Sometimes they catch quickly, sometimes not so much. So they're doing okay. But I don't know, and a lot of people I know that are really into the board mounting, but it's not something that I do. This Encyclia tampensis right here, you can't really tell, but there's a bloom spike coming out of that Encyclia. Again, wrong time of year, but it's coming out. And while I'm back in this tight spot here, I do want to show you, this is a division of a plant. This is Mahino Yahiro, and this is a division that I made of a plant. I divided this just a couple of weeks ago, and we'll see how it goes. It really hasn't started putting out. What you look for is the new roots that are coming from in this area, and you may be able to see a hint of new roots coming out right there, and then also the new growth point, which is on the back side. So that's what you look for on these plants when you make divisions, and that's what's kind of indicative of spring. As we move to the next plant, this is another division of Jamaica Red. And Jamaica Red, I had plants that were in a plant that was in my front yard, and it just got really big and overgrown. So there's a division that I made of that, but you look at the base, you may be able to see in the center a new pseudobulb growing out of that plant. Another Encyclia tampensis right here. But as we move on, we can start seeing some of these plants that have this growth. So new growth is what I'm looking for. So you can see here, there is a new out of this plant, and this is actually Julia Smile. This is one of my progeny plants from Momolani Rainbow and Orange Nugget, but you can see a new pseudobulb growing there, another pseudobulb, new pseudobulb growing there, and another larger pseudobulb growing right here. So on a pretty small plant, to have 3 new pseudobulbs growing out, it's pretty nice. It's pretty impressive. As we move forward a little bit, and we're going to be seeing a lot of new growth, since that's what's going on in the springtime. But this is another sibling of this plant. So this is another Julia Smile right here, not nearly as big or as nice, but what you can see is a new pseudobulb coming off to the left, and this is a nice new growth. And again, this is what gives me it really feels good, and it makes me feel good. It's nice to have, and it's nice to see this new growth. It means that something is right, something is going right. As we move down, I want to show you a couple more seedlings, and then I've missed some things that I wanted to share with you. So this is a seedling right here that I have of, and it's not mine, it's a colleague, Bill, and this is King Tut's Paradise. Yeah, I had to look at the tag to make sure. But this is doing also really well. The seedling is just maybe a year and a half old, but look at the size of it. Look at the new growth that's here, and there's another new pseudobulb. You can't see it. Another new pseudobulb growing out of it. This is one that I potted up pretty recently, and this is a new one of my new hybrids called Radman. And what you can see right in the middle here, two new pseudobulbs coming out of this little tiny seedling, which is really nice to have. It's nice to see. As we move over to this, another seedling. This is a hybrid called Catty Cat, and you can right here, and what you can see coming out, I hope, right here is a new pseudobulb that is coming. Maybe that's a little bit of a different, better angle for you. A new pseudobulb that's coming out of that plant. But as we move, here's some more seedlings right here. Nothing coming out of that, nothing coming out of that I can see, but there is, you can see like down here, you can see that new root growth. Anytime you have nice new green growth, and if I were to move things around and look a little bit more, you may be able to see more things going on in this plant. And I don't remember what this is, but right there in the middle, a new pseudobulb. And I like coming out, oh geez, all right here. And I like having that, I like seeing this, and it is unusual. A lot of times when you grow seedlings, you don't really see much growth for a while. They kind of stagnate and they don't grow. But these seedlings all seem to be doing really, really well. Okay, let's move back to, I think there's only a few things that I wanted to show you in this space. So down here on the bottom, and we have to go in order to see it, down here in these pots in the bottom, these are keikis of Maikai, and they're small and they're tiny, but you can see the new pseudobulb coming out of this Maikai plant right here. That was a keiki that was just put in here a few months ago, and the other plants are doing pretty much the same thing. Throughout here, what you can see, these are some more of my seedlings, and some of them, if you can see, are putting out new pseudobulbs on that plant that are growing. But anytime you see this, the new growth, it's just something nice. Over in the back here, this is one of my hybrids. This is called Jimbo, but the new right in the middle there is a new pseudobulb growing out. And again, that is just nice to see. I've got lots of, there's some dens in here. There are some dens above. But what I wanted to show you is right there. All right, so this is vanilla planifolia. This is regular vanilla. And the pot that is supporting this plant, it's a vine. So the thing is, if you follow this back, so the leading edge goes that way, the trailing edge goes there, you follow it down, it goes, I'm probably losing you on the focus, but then it goes down, oh, it goes down here, down through that shelf. So the pot that's holding this plant is right here now. But what happens is, you might imagine, if we go back through here, is like I showed you with that other vanilla, the roots that are attaching are supporting this. So, I don't know how much of the water is being transported, or how much is actually coming from the roots that are closer to where the new growth and the buds are occurring. But what's going on here, and this is again my first planifolia, vanilla planifolia, to flower. these buds, and this is going to be just loaded. These flowers open up for one day, you pollinate them, and you get the vanilla seed capsule, which gives rise to the vanilla flavoring. Now, I'm not sure if I'll get anything out of this, but I'm just so excited that I've got my first flowers coming out on this, and I'm really excited because there's so many of them. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because at least for me, that's something new. All right, I'm gonna do just a little bit more. I've been going on for a while. I tell you what, I'm gonna stop in just a couple of minutes, and then we'll do another video because I think it's getting long. There is a lot of new growth. I'm not going to stop and look at every plant because I don't think every plant is noteworthy. But what I wanted to show you in this is a Oncidium spacillatum. I have one that's in spike that'll be blooming soon. But you can see the new right there in the light, new growth coming out there. And then also over here in the dark, new growth coming out here. As we move over a little bit, not really anything noteworthy there. I did want to show you this Encyclia cordidera. And what I wanted to show you, I mean, it's a nice bloom. I've shared this with you though recently, so I don't need to reshare this with you. But what I want you to look at is see the tags blowing in the wind. So I made some crosses, I made some hybridizations onto this. And I'm always excited with new crosses. It's one of the funnest things that I do. Okay, I want to show you this. This is where my Odum's Grand Delight actually lives, is in this chair. And again, I shared this with you pretty recently. It's huge flowers. I just think they're so nice. But what I wanted to share with you on that is the other flowers, the spent flowers over here. There's one, let me get a better angle on this. There's one that still looks okay, but then there's one below it and one behind it that don't look okay anymore, and that's because they have tags hanging from them because you can't see the tags because I pollinated them. So if you look at them, you look at the base of these and you can see you're starting to get a little bit of swelling, and the flowers are just completely gone after a very short time after pollination. So it's a shame. The flowers are gone. It would have looked really nice to have even more flowers on this plant, but the orchid meeting that I brought this to was a couple of days ago, and I don't need to show the flowers anymore. So I made crosses on these, and they're done. The one other thing I think okay, let me show you just a few more things. I thought I was done, but no. So I do want to show you the Vandas because these Vandas are also doing so well. This one right here, you can see, nice green roots coming out of this really nice Vanda right here. But I do want to show you this Vanda here that is just the roots for some reason on this Vanda are just going crazy. And so the one on the left there came through a little tiny hole in the pot. I was just surprised that happened. There's keikis on this plant. This is my oldest Vanda right here, and it goes up the tree, and then the roots continue to grow up the tree, and they're doing well. This Vanda has never bloomed for me. It's growing like crazy. Maybe it needs more light, but if it needs more light, it's going to have to find it on its own. I'm not gonna move it. It's something that can't be done at this point. Okay, what I want to leave on then, and we'll start up here in a second video. These are some more of my seedlings right here, and these are looking just incredibly well. These are just amazing. The new growth that you can see coming out of these seedlings, I just think is unbelievable. So these are, these are a group of seedlings that I'll hold on to, and the Encyclia tampensis seedlings that I have right here are just doing so well. All right, oh, I do want to show you one more thing. Sorry, not orchid at all. This plant in this pot, right here in this big pot, this is dill. And you think, well, it doesn't look very good. But you're right, it doesn't look good at all. But what happened about, I guess about a week and a half ago, is I noticed some very small visitors on this plant, and this is what these guys do to this plant. So these are right here and here and everywhere on this plant. Right here, I don't know if you can see the one in the back coming through. These are black swallowtails. And what happened with these guys is they ate all the leaves, all the flowers, and they're just all over this plant. And they're actually, the populations are going down because there's nothing left. They ate everything. And they got to the point where there's nothing left. There's no leaves, there's no flowers, there's nothing at all left on this plant. And then they started eating the I don't know if you can tell, but if you follow this branch up to the left, you can see that above there it's green and then it's stripped. So then they started stripping and eating all the parts of the plants that weren't leaves. I mean, these guys were hungry. They just went to town and just ate everything. And I love, you know, I love butterflies and I love the caterpillars, and this plant was old anyway, but now it's just completely, it's done. We sacrificed this plant for the benefits of these guys. Okay, so I think I've gone on enough. I'm gonna put together a second video showing you the rest of my collection, and we'll do kind of what I've done so far. We'll do a slow walkthrough, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. All right, if you liked what you saw today, you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me at my videos. It would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have. I'll be back with the second half, and happy propagating.